Hey, it's the Thom Hartmann Post Script here live on YouTube, and there's a couple of stories about the election that I wanted to share with you that I think are really consequential and important. The first is this absolutely brilliant piece that Seth Abramson wrote over at Huffington Post, and it's titled "How to Explain the Sanders Campaign to an Idiot, Paul Krugman, or a Clintonite in 8 sentences." And, with appropriate homage to Seth, I will just share briefly, what he had to say. Sentence number 1, he says, the whole point of the superdelegates was that if somebody can't get 59% of the pledged delegates, it's not 50 plus 1%. It's 59%. If you can't get 59% of the party's pledged delegates, then it goes to the superdelegates. Why? Because, number one, they feel that if you can't get 59%, you're a weak candidate, and the party needs to think about maybe somebody else. Or 2, if you can't get 59%, maybe there's something going on with the candidate, or maybe there's something going on in the election that the party elders, the superdelegates, need to seriously consider. This is why the election actually happens for the primary. The selection of the primary of the ultimate Democratic Party candidate happens not next Tuesday, like Chris Matthews has said on television. As soon as the New Jersey results are in, which will be while California is still voting, we're going to call the election for Hillary Clinton. Right? Well, I'm sorry, neither Hillary nor Bernie are going to have enough delegates. They're not going to. Neither one of them are going to have that 59% of pledged delegates necessary, which means that the vote, and by the way, those delegates don't vote until the convention either, which means that the whole thing is happening. Anyhow, that's sentence number 1. Sentence number 2, superdelegates were created in 1984 for the good of the party, or for who can win in November. And these were separate considerations that, have some sort of an integration. Number 3, Hillary Clinton currently leads Bernie Sanders in pledged delegates, superdelegates, and the popular vote, and would continue to lead Sanders, even were the pledged or superdelegate allotment rules to be changed in any one of a number of ways, but has nonetheless failed to receive 59% of the pledged delegates, despite having every possible advantage on her opponent. American politics is able to bestow, both financially in terms of party support and in terms of the logistics of individual state electoral processes. And I would add, by the way, in terms of having the name recognition and gravitas and everything else that goes with having been Secretary of State, United States Senator, and First Lady of the United States. Sentence number 4, superdelegates, who have only been around for 6 contested Democratic primaries, have, depending upon the primary, not previously voted against the pledged delegate or popular vote leader for one of 2 reasons. Now, actually, Hillary Clinton was the popular vote leader. I'm going to get to that in just a second, back in 2008. But in any case, for one of 2 reasons. Either the candidate leading in pledged delegates in the popular vote had been a strong front runner. This I'm quoting here from Seth, with more than 59% of the pledged delegates, making superdelegate votes immaterial, or the candidate behind in pledged delegates and the popular vote has conceded. In the 2016 Democratic primary, it's presumed by the media and many political observers that superdelegates will not switch their endorsements. But you can't, from Hillary Clinton, but you don't know until the election. And the election is in July in Pittsburgh, or Philadelphia, rather. So, and it says, because she and her husband built the modern neoliberal Democratic Party and therefore own more cultural capital within that context than any other husband and spouse, she and her husband have raised a lot of money for the party. So this is the presumption that the media is making about this is why the superdelegates aren't going to flip. Who knows? Sentence number 5, Bernie Sanders, who in fact has never called the Democratic primaries and caucuses rigged, he's talking about the economy being rigged, is staying in the race because all of the extant hard data suggests that he's a stronger general election candidate than Mrs. Clinton. And because Mrs. Clinton's stunning failure to secure 59% of pledged delegates didn't merely invite, but indeed encouraged him to take his case to the superdelegates in July. Now, people say, but wait a minute, Bernie hasn't been vetted. Oh, yeah, he has. Again, Seth Abramson says Americans have long been aware of what's allegedly the most damning allegation against Sanders, that he's a socialist. All the current polling reflects that everybody knows that. They don't care. If anything, people like that. Number two, he writes, Mrs. Clinton has slandered Mr. Sanders repeatedly in the current primary. I would say it wasn't Mrs. Clinton so much as her campaign, although some of this did come out of the debates, falsely alleging that he opposes Planned Parenthood. He actually has a 100% rating with them. Falsely alleging he opposes gun control. He has a D- with the National Rifle Association. Falsely alleging he voted against the auto bailout, a claim rated 50% false by PolitiFact. And finally, Oppo research conducted on Sanders during his many, many prior runs for federal office has been dumped into the media en masse in this election cycle, including false allegations that he honeymooned in Russia. No, sorry, Burlington had a sister city there that he and his wife visited. They had their honeymoon later, and it wasn't in Russia. False allegations that he wrote a rape fantasy fiction in 1970. It was actually a feminist essay, and the part that gets taken out of context is sarcastic. And false allegations that he supported repressive communist regimes abroad. He has said, there's things we can learn from other countries, like, the way that Cuba is producing doctors like there's no tomorrow. That doesn't mean he wants us to become Cuba. Come on. No, the slanders are already out there. People are saying, oh, Bernie hasn't been vetted. He hasn't been attacked. Yes, he has. Over and over and over again, every 2 years in Vermont, and now by the Clinton campaign. And finally, number 6, the Democratic Party has never in modern history run a candidate with an unfavorable rating as high as Mrs. Clinton's. It has never in modern history run a candidate who is currently under FBI investigation. It has never in modern history run a candidate who will, per polling reported by Nate Cohn, not receive the support of 50% of her opponent's supporters. Actually, I would contest that. The numbers that I've seen are around 25%. It has never run a candidate who secured only 50% of the pledged delegates in the final 2/3 of the party nominating contests. So, and it goes on, sentence number 7, about the mainstream media. Sentence number 8, there's nearly 2 months. Let's wait and see what's going on. So I share all that with you, and I recommend to you this article that actually it was no longer on the front page of Huffington Post earlier today. But I'm sure you can find it. It's called "How to Explain the Sanders Campaign to an Idiot, Paul Krugman, or a Clintonite in 8 sentences." But what this was set up for is what I really wanted to share with you, which is the letter that Hillary Clinton wrote in 2008 to the superdelegates when Barack Obama was ahead. Now, actually, she had more votes, but she had fewer delegates. So she writes this letter to the superdelegates saying, at this point, we do not yet have a nominee. This is 8 years ago, 7.5 years ago. Well, no, it's about 8 years ago this time. At this point, we do not yet have a nominee, and when the last votes are cast on June 3rd, neither Senator Obama nor I will have secured the nomination. Now, let me add, that is identical to the situation now. Back to Hillary Clinton's letter. It will be up to automatic delegates like you. She calls them automatic delegates. We call them superdelegates now. Like you, to help choose our party's nominee. And I would like to tell you why I believe I am the stronger candidate against Senator McCain and would be the best president and commander-in-chief. In the past 2 weeks, I'm skipping through the letter. You can find it easily online. This is from a piece that was in The Atlantic in May of 2008, titled "Clinton's Closing Argument to Superdelegates." You can easily Google it or DuckDuckGo it. She says, in the past 2 weeks alone, record numbers of voters participated in the West Virginia and Kentucky primaries. It is clear that even when voters are repeatedly told this race is over, they're not giving up on me, and I'm not giving up on them either. Deja vu? She says, Americans are seeking a president who shares their core beliefs about our country and its future and gets what they go through every day to care for their families, pay the bills, and try to put something away for the future. We simply cannot afford another 4 or 8 years in the wilderness. This is why everywhere I go, people come up to me, grip my hand or arm, and urge me to keep on running. This is why I continue in this race, Hillary Clinton wrote, because I believe I am best prepared to lead this country as president. Recent polls, now, all the commentators, particularly on the Trump Clinton network, MSNBC, they're all saying, oh, yeah, actually, they're not even quoting the polls anymore that show that Bernie beats Trump massively better than Hillary does. Recent polls and election results show a clear trend. I am ahead in states that have been critical to victory in the past 2 elections. Now, Bernie gets criticized for saying, yeah, Hillary carried the South, but, the South is not going to vote for a Democratic president, so it doesn't matter. I mean, these are my words, not his, but that's the essence of the argument. Well, this is the argument that Hillary Clinton made in 2008. She said the results of recent primaries in battleground states show that I have strong support from the regions and demographics Democrats need to take back the White House. I am also currently ahead of Senator McCain in Gallup national tracking polls, while Senator Obama is behind him. In other words, she could more easily beat McCain than Obama could, just like the polls right now are showing Bernie could more easily beat Trump than Hillary. I am also currently ahead of Senator McCain in Gallup national tracking polls, while Senator Obama is behind him, and nearly all independent analyses show I am in a stronger position to win the Electoral College. Ultimately, the point of our primary process, Hillary Clinton wrote in 2008 to the superdelegates, ultimately, the point of our primary process is to pick our strongest nominee, the one who could be the best president and commander-in-chief, who has the greatest support from members of our party, and who is most likely to win in November. Finally, she says, and again, I'm skipping around in this letter, but there's a lot of ellipses in here. I encourage you to read the entire letter yourself. Finally, I am in this race because I believe staying in this race will help unite the Democratic Party. What? I thought Bernie staying in the race was hurting the Democratic? No. At least Hillary Clinton didn't think so when she was staying in the race against Barack Obama. I believe that if Senator Obama and I both make our case, she wrote to the superdelegates, and all Democrats have the chance to make their voices heard, everyone will be more likely to rally around the nominee. But at this point, neither of us has crossed the finish line. I hope in the time remaining you will think hard about which candidate has the best chance to lead our party to victory in November. So all I'm saying is if the networks do, in fact, call the Democratic primary over on the night that the New Jersey and California, on the night that New Jersey votes and California does, in other words, if they count the superdelegates, the so-called pledge, not the pledge, the so-called, automatic, or if they count the superdelegates who have said that they will support Hillary Clinton as votes, which is absolutely what the Democratic Party has told the media not to do over and over again. They don't vote until the party meeting, until the convention, on which I think is July 17th in Philadelphia. They don't vote until then. And a lot of things could happen between now and then. If the media calls this thing, then I think that, A, we will know why MSNBC is now running ads that say people might start accusing us of leaning too far to the right. And B, I think they'll be doing a serious disservice to American democracy. So that's my PS today. Thank you for being with us.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.